Hello Orchid Maniacs, it's Eva again, and today we're gonna talk about my cats. So this is my unifoliate no ID Cattleya that I bought last winter, and it had no roots when I repotted it, so I expected it to have smaller growth, as you can see, and this one is kind of dark for some reason, but it's not soft or anything, so I'm just gonna leave it like that until something horrible will happen. If it doesn't spread, I then cut it. So anyway, so as I was saying, it had those smaller growths, and I didn't expect anything to happen from those sheaths because it grew bigger new growths, but it surprised me with this bloom, and now it has some buds coming from those newer growths, so I'm quite happy about it. And it also has another new growth with just a tiny little sheath in there, so it should be quite nice because it's a Cattleya that can bloom with multiple blooms at once. And although the blooms are quite small and they're not fragrant, it's a lovely color. I really love yellows and oranges and reds and greens, so that one's nice. Alright, so this mess in here is my prize Cattleya that I won as a contest prize, and it did bloom with one single large white bloom, and I filmed it, but I didn't have to edit it, and if I can find the footage I'm gonna add it in here somewhere. And it does have two growths. One of them bloomed, the other one didn't, but it started growing new roots now, and I think it's a good time to repot it because I really hate the pot it's growing in. It's in this net pot with some media that looks not very good, so I think I'm just gonna repot it soon. And it is a good time to repot it because it's growing new roots, and if you don't know, Cattleyas sometimes lose all their old roots after repotting, so it is a good thing to repot when the new roots are growing because it has a better chance to adapt to the new media and start growing again without being set back. Now this is a no ID Cattleya that I showed you in my October update. If you remember, it bloomed with two fairly large white-purple blooms. If you don't, I'm gonna add a link in the info card so you can check it out. And it started growing two new growths already, so we might get some blooms in spring. Although it might be problematic because I don't have very much light in here, so we'll see. So this one is okay. And this is the white no ID Cattleya. It isn't doing anything yet. It stopped blooming now, and it should start growing new growth soon, so we'll see. And this one is the other no ID Cattleya. And as you can see, it's got 3 blooms now, and it smells amazing. I cannot believe how strong it can be, but it has some things to worry about. If you can see, the blooms have those strange markings, color streaks. And it's the first time it bloomed with 3 blooms at once. I didn't even know it can do that because it always had either 1 or 2 blooms. And you might think it's okay that it's 3 blooms, but those markings are actually making me a little bit worried because, as you know, those are the telltale sign of virus. But well, I have a few options what it could actually be. it could be a virus that I had always had, and it simply didn't show because the last few times this plant bloomed, it didn't have those markings. So that's option number one. Option number two, it's a newly introduced virus that I got from somewhere else and I introduced into this plant, which is kind of unlikely because I didn't repot it for a long time and I didn't cut it with anything, so it could only be spread by, I don't know, parasites or something, which this plant didn't have, so it's highly unlikely. Option number three, this is actually cultural thing, because there are two things that Cattleyas really hate. It's cold weather and rain, and that's exactly what I had this summer, and this plant had to go through all that. And option number four, it could be mechanical damage, and I can explain you what I mean by that. If you look at those blooms, those markings are actually quite symmetrical. That means if they are here, they're also here. So, and it's exactly the same on all of those blooms. So actually, this new growth, when it was still small, it was attacked by a snail, and the snail ate some outer sheets of it, and it didn't really do much damage to the growth itself, but I don't know, maybe it did to some growth points or something, I don't know. And there's one more possibility that I've damaged those buds, because I'm quite clumsy and I was moving things around on the shelf, and when this Cattleya was still forming buds. And I also touch the sheets from time to time, although I don't really squeeze them, I just run my fingers through them very gently, but well, you can never know. So it does look like bruising to me. So just have to wait and see. Well, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wait for the next blooming and see if it still has those markings. I'm just gonna have to get rid of this plant, which would be really a bad thing because I really like it. So yeah. Oh, I mean, look at this. It looks like velvet. And it smells amazing. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.